you venture down this road, be aware you should be told requirement for being tough. No, not tough. Brave and bold. A message to other emerging youth. As I myself ask, am I strong enough for this unearthing of unsettling truths? What's more, this messy multiplicity threatens the security of this scientific community of this accurately certain objective reality. Insecurities fuel taunts of unworthiness, attempts to suppress expressiveness, kindness mistaken for weakness, subjected to ridicule from openness. It's just words, innit? It's just writing about yourself, innit? Bullies exposed as stupid cowards, ignorance to understand is more like it. Tough messages to the next generation. Build rules, fuckers, we'll just climb right over them. Interconnected communities embrace relief from dominating confrontation. What is it about? What is challenged? What is not said? It is all falling on duped ears deafened by the dominating. Criticised for self-indulgence is intellectually insulting. Self-exposed needs acceptance. Still, fucking waiting. Okay, I just want to say thank you for having me via video link, and thanks Paul for putting this on, and I hope this all works and goes well. The presentation that I'm doing today is in response to the recent calls for integrating pluralisms, so integrating multiple methods, forms, representations in qualitative research. In my PhD, I always wanted to represent people's stories in a way that blurred the boundaries between researcher and researched, self and other, and which also blurs the edges between text, representation and criticism. So during part of my PhD, where I interviewed 14 participants, I explored people's biographies and lived experiences. My presentation today will also cover asthma, sport and sensual experiences. I'll look at the way in which I use poetry, inquiry, arts-based methods, and provide some examples and some thoughts on that. Okay, so the very nature of sport and asthma is arguably a very embodied activity. Alan Collinson, Phoenix, Sparks are among those who argue that sensorial experiences are important because sensory experiences are essential domains of cultural expression and communication, and are the means by which values are enacted. And many highlight the crucial role that senses play in how sport is experienced and understood, particularly with those with asthma who experience laboured breathing. And Hockey and Allison, both Alan Collinson also both argue that there might be a direct relationship between respiratory patterns and athletes' subjectivity, which might produce emotional states and consequently raise issues of identity management. So the way I'm presenting some of the stories is through poetry. I drew on a form of poetic inquiry that Prendergast refers to as participant voice poems, which are written from interview transcripts or solicited diaries, or directly from the participants, and produced as narrative poems. And this type of poetry is closer to storytelling. And poetry might help explore personal and shared bodily felt sensory experiences of asthma, as well as other overlooked issues, such as the meanings people give their sport and asthma, or how people might negotiate their identities, and the way people might become attuned to listening to their breathing in acute ways resulting from these bodily felt experiences. And given the fluid nature of identity, poems also reject these static or unitary meanings and instead reveal the multiplicity of meanings. Additionally, in the research, participants gave me photos, which led me to include in the research by drawing them. And I questioned how arts-based methods might be used together. Indeed, Chamberlain et al. Argue that multiple methods function smoothly if they are closely aligned. Multiple methods encourage creativity and innovation and extends the scope and depth of data, demands time, forces reflexivity, deepens and intensifies relationships between researchers and participants, and raises issues for analysis and interpretation. And like poetry, visual images, and like many other forms of creative methodologies, are unique and can invoke particular kinds of emotional and visceral responses. So by adding another dimension, I realise I'm touching on ongoing debates. These issues of representation appear to be about prioritising and valuing of verbal knowledge over visual knowledge. But by offering a poetic narrative with an artistic impression, it's not meant to devalue the importance of either. It's aimed at seeing how these arts-based methods might interact with each other and unite to offer new ways of knowing and seeing. So now I offer some examples. One is fighting asthma, and the other one is It's a Buzz. And these are from participants' data from my PhD on asthma. And I now, by performing it, I invite the audience to be involved and immersed in these examples by showing rather than telling you about their stories. Fighting asthma. When I was young, asthma. Told I would grow out of it. Not the case with me. I seem to be growing right into it. Blooming at this stage, asthma's really hit. Loads of times with a mate running. At the end, whoa, wheezing, just keeping up with him, type of sprint running. When we stopped knowing, legs he'd be stretching, the same I'd be doing. Also I'd be wheezing, calming down, waiting, knowing. Lungs are going to be crazy going. The aftermath part, waiting for them to be settling. That's what you do, not really thinking. Going to be affecting me keeping up with him, both struggling hard, competing. Cold nights running, lungs bursting, legs bursting. Everything's bursting. I wasn't thinking asthma's going to be stopping. Probably taking me ages to get me back breathing. After effects I'm going to be dealing. Not hours, minutes, 10 or 9 minutes. Uncomfortable periods. I don't know, part of me likes that. Myself, I quite like pushing. I like the idea of knowing I'm training a real hard session, stopping to be sick, tough impression. I don't know, part of me likes that. End run costing a lung, no pain, no gain mentality. I don't mind that. And uncomfortableness, that's all. Asthma will never cause me to keel over, probably does limit performance. Fighting recently affected grappling ability. Asthma, worse summer. On the coach, I'm better, struggling, feeling a bit squashed up, crunched up, near to your max, breathing. Pressure down in your chest. Panic gets me. My way out, tapping. Remembering disappointed feeling in myself for tapping. Literally, just tapping. Just feeling uncomfortable a bit. Tapping out, me. Not actually someone's gone on top of you. Not actually done something to hurt you, to make you go, yeah, you beat me. Pretty good for the guys in the club to see. I'm beating them up usually. Really enjoying it, seeing me tap. Gave them bragging rights, probably. Was it caused by asthma? Was I just absolutely knackered? Was part of me looking for a way out? Like when I was a kid, camping, Dad, a PE teacher, outdoor pursuit instructor, one occasion walking, Dad telling me not to do the full thing. Kind of letting him down, I was. Bit upset about that, I was. Can't handle it with the big boys, wimping out, looking like a weed, looking like a wimp. Daddy's looking after me, giving me a way out. Sporty thing, he's an asthmatic, can't keep up, wimpiness thing. My asthma stories as I recall. Shame, giving up, being embarrassed, cross about it all. Thinking, is it just an excuse? Through lack of heart. That's all. It's the buzz. Always wanted to horse ride. In the forest is where I grew up. Just always wanted to horse ride. 9th birthday present, horse riding lessons. It's what I wanted to do. Dressage, all about prancing, elegant and classical riding. Horse goes really nicely. To school a horse. Getting them almost like dancing. Not very easy. So when you do actually do that and you click and the horse finally does what you want it to, a really good feeling because the horse has worked well. You worked well. You're the teacher, you and the horse bonded, you're working together. Race horses, bit different. Just want to go fast, straight line, jockey style riding. You just want to stay on, going fast, going flat out. You get the adrenaline, galloping, get the adrenaline rush. Or on the hunt, adrenaline buzz teaches you how to ride, to stay on, fast. trying to avoid the branches and the holes, everybody, avoiding everybody. The buzz, definitely. I don't worry about anything, it's just fun. It's hard work, strenuous, the horses pull. Got to watch where you're going. Got to always be thinking. Not supposed to be get in front of the hounds, in front of a certain huntsman. Thinking about what you're doing. Not just like galloping around, no. It's good. It's just fun. Sneezing doesn't start while I'm on the horse's back. In the car coming back, I sneeze and sneeze and sneeze. I stream and sneeze and sneeze and stream and sneeze. Achoo, achoo, achoo. I sneeze so much my stomach hurts the next day. Dust and hay sets my asthma off more than anything else. The more I go, the less allergic I am. If I haven't been for a while around horses, then I'm really allergic. My asthma's all right. Riding, mostly I can. Done a bit of running. Don't do that anymore. Sore knees, struggling getting fit. Done a bit of body combat. Don't do that anymore. No other physical activity, really. Horse riding means a lot. I haven't been for a while. I really miss it. I wouldn't want to give it up. I'd miss it. I enjoy it, to do. Got to have something. Otherwise you just sit. Outside work. Got to have something. It means a lot. So a move to performance has been accompanied by a shift towards this willingness to experiment with these alternative new representational forms. And engaging participants in this research was not a top-down process of gathering data, but a reciprocal relationship in which insights were developed and shared. And given this narrative poetry and narrative art seem to be appropriate and particularly powerful tools to achieve the same. As an active listener, these multiple methods approach might change the way we interpret the following questions that Cassie Phoenix raises in her paper in 2010. So how does this change what we're able to see and hear? How are we allowed to see and hear it, and how are we made to see and hear? And what is seen and heard, and how is this socially shaped? And these were some of the responses that I received from the participants when I showed and went back and showed them what I'd done with their stories. So today, by showing rather than telling, I've been challenging conventional research methods and the way in which these can be used as pedagogical tools in our classrooms. And by mixing alternative methods, we can see how these might evolve each other and stir debates. And in this case, whilst also exploring the central nature of physicality involved in sport and asthma when playing sport, there might be a contestation between asthmatic and sporting identities, which may be enhanced given the culture of risk attached to many sporting cultures. And I thank you for listening today, and I'll leave you with a quote from T.S. Eliot, who says, poetry is not turning loose of emotion, but an escape from emotion. It's not the expression of personality, but an escape from personality. But of course, only those who have personality and emotions know what it means to want to escape from these things. Thanks very much.